The film begins with a group of people racing against the Russian authorities. They arrive in the area. They don't want to be let in, so the Russians shoot them. Jones and the boss get into an argument. Irina arrives, introduces herself to Jones, and says he will help them, but Jones doesn't agree. Eventually she helps and they search for the crate with gunpowder. They find the chest they are looking for and take it away. They open it up and find a mummified body with a magnet, at which point Jones outwits one of the Russian, and they points a gun at him. Mac turns on Jones because he is being paid a lot. He shoots one in the leg and escapes. They chase him, but with the help of tricks and brilliant stunts to escape. A jet train fires up, killing the others, and Jones is at the front of the train with a Russian on board. The others set off in their cars and Jones hides in the bushes, never to be found. In the morning, Jones sets out to explore the place he is in, finds a village, but instead of people, there are only puppets. There's an alarm, so Jones hides in a fridge. The whole village and the surrounding area explodes, but Jones survives in the fridge. Jones arrives at the base and talks to the agents and asks them about the crate. Jones is called out of class, informs him that the FBI is looking for him and searching. The principal fires him. They go home and Jones talk about where he's going to escape and what he's going to do to see if he can find a teaching job. The next day he boards a train while a man on a motorcycle arrives. The train leaves. The biker goes over, talks to him and says Professor Harold is going to be killed. Mutt, the biker, introduces himself. He's in Peru and has found a crystal skull and is on his way to Akator, a lost city in the Amazon. A famous archaeologist disappeared here, and when Jones was there, he got typhoid fever. The legend says that whoever returns the crystal skull to Akator will get its magic. If Jones doesn't help Mutt, his mother will be killed. The secret agents arrive and a fight breaks out. Jones wants to translate the letter that is on the map in Akator, and in the meantime they escape. The detectives chasing them. Most of the city is torn apart as they escape. They get away and Jones tries to decode the letter. They search for signs and symbols and finds them. They fly to Peru. Mutt talks a bit about his life, how he left all his schools and doesn't like his mom very much. They meet a nun. She takes them down to a prison, tells them they don't know where the person they're looking for is because armed men took him away a few days ago. They search the cell and find strange things, writings. With the prison cell, the symbols take on new meaning. It turns out that Harold has found the skull. They go into a windy little town with people dressed as skeletons and are attacked. They manage to outwit and kill them. They find a skull with an arm behind it. They pull it and a door opens. Under the ground, they find many skulls and human remains. They have to fight their way through cobwebs and other obstacles. They descend to a secret underground bunker, where there are more bones and footprints of someone who has been here before. They also find mummies, one of which is cut open, and the man rots instantly. He's been like this for 500 years and his body can't breathe. They find a sword inside. In one of the mummies they find a suit of armor with a gold mask, who is none other than Orellana herself, the Golden Maiden. Someone has been here before but left the gold behind. They find a crystal skull, but it's not made of crystal because it attracts magnets, so they don't know exactly what kind of skull it is. They come out of the bunker and are confronted by armed men. They take them to their Peru quarters and tie Jones up. Mac explains that he's with the Russians because they're paying them more than the treasure's worth. But Jones doesn't believe it that the payment is worth more than the skull. Irina says that only aliens could have made the skull because humans can't, but Jones doesn't believe that either. They bring Harold to Jones, but Harold can't remember anything because the skull has made him crazy and disabled. They tie Jones to the skull and make him look inside, because not everyone knows Jones is special. They try to manipulate Jones. He's getting sick of the skull. Jones won't take the Russians to Akator. Mutt, his mother, is here. Jones doesn't understand the situation. Harold's coming around. Harold draws pictographs of how they get to Akator. They try to decode the writing of the code. Mutt attacks the Russians and they escape. They get caught in quicksand, which turns out to be a simple collapse. It turns out Mutt is that his son, Henry Jones III. They pull Jones out of the sand with a snake. Harold brings help, but because of his stupid brain, he calls in the Russians. In the car, they argue about marriage, love life, what it means to be a man. Between the two of them, they knock down the guard, untie themselves, and Jones pushes the Russian out of the car, takes over control of the car. They use an RPG to blow up the tank. They start running from the Russians, trying to steal the skull. Mutt gets it in a sword duel. Irina retrieves the skull, and Mutt falls headfirst into the tree. Irina tries to push the Joneses over the cliff, but Mutt returns with the monkeys and rescues them, retrieving the skull. They jump into a big anthill, start running, but Mutt picks them up in a car. Harold lays on the ground and the ants dodge the skull. Jones gets into a fight and eventually the Russian is killed by the ants. Jones rescues Harold and they escape by car. They come to a ravine where they jump off and fall into a tree, which takes them down into the water. The drift takes them to a waterfall, but they survive. There are actually 3 waterfalls. They notice the statue in the mountain, which is a skull figure. They make their way to the skull. In the cave, they find ancient wall paintings and paintings, which they try to interpret. Harold lifts up the skull, and it fits perfectly with one of the drawings. They keep going, but local tribesmen jump out of hiding places and start chasing them. Harold lifts the skull, and the locals are frightened. Meanwhile, the Russians are on the Joneses' trail. They reach the City of Gold. They find a secret hole and start punching it, and the city goes into action, but they are swallowed up. Down below, they head further into the underground city. They find historical artifacts. Harold finds a big gate, and Mac takes all the gold he can find. They use the skull to open a door that leads to a room. On the golden throne sits a skeleton. The skull fits perfectly, but Mac turns on them, and he is with the Russians, pointing a gun at Jones. Irina takes the skull and puts it on the skeleton. Harold starts talking to the skull. It starts to crumble and spin around the room. A portal opens to another dimension, sucks the Russians in. Jones begins to escape. Irina, ready for the dimension, wants to know secret things. Finally, she is sucked up by the UFO. The Joneses escape underground and watch as the pyramid collapses and the UFO rises. The water washes away the whole city and all traces of it. Jones and Marion get married. The door opens and she blows the hat to Mutt, but Jones takes it.